It's very different to Australian politics. Can you imagine an Australian Prime Minister introducing into Parliament a bill to give himself and his ministers immunity from criminal prosecutions while they remained ministers? I mean, Australians would just laugh and say, mate, get out of here. So it's a very different culture. We don't, for example, have a privilege for our Governor-General or the Queen to appoint senators for life. We don't want senators for life. But that's what President Napolitano was able to do to get Mario Monti into Parliament.
What's been your assessment of Berlusconi's competence?
Well, look, I don't know that it's for me to assess his competence. I say that bunga parties might make you a man's man, but that, there's a certain international embarrassment attached to that. And his lifestyle, the way he's governed or not governed, might be a better way to describe it, has occasioned a loss of confidence internationally, and that's worrying for Italy because they have tremendous debt, and a good swag of it comes up for renewal early next year. The bonds mature, and so they have to be, reissued. So it's very important that Italy has some stability leading up to that time, so that they don't have to pay tremendous interest rates.
As a very successful businessman, it's just surprising that he wasn't able to adequately steer the country's economy.
Well, John Howard used to say to people, look back in Australia's history, and it might be true of the rest of the world, I'm not sure, and nominate the businessman who's done well in politics. It's a different field.
Okay.
It's one where you have to get others to agree with you. You don't own the parliament in the same way that you own a company. And so getting all the Italians to come together and agree on something is not easy. But look, let's make it clear with Berlusconi going. This debt's been there long before he started. It may help make it worse, but the mountain of it was there before. And the sluggish economy, the reasons for the sluggish economy were all there before. Now, he didn't do anything about it, but him going alone doesn't fix it. Italy's up for some very dramatic structural economic change to get the economy going so that young people can see a chance and an opportunity, which at the moment they cannot see in Italy.
Well, you said it was a very different field to business. How will an economist go at transforming it then?
Well, Mario Monti is very respected and very well qualified, and given they have these debt problems, an economist being able to get to the bottom of how to deal with this, and in particular, I think, to get a lot of the waste that Italians see in government. And, if you see that your government's lazy and inefficient, you might say to yourself, well, why shouldn't we be? There's tremendous waste in the Italian government, and there's no better example of that than all the cars with drivers. We had the Defence Department the other day buying themselves some very snazzy Maseratis. Well, if you're a low-income Italian paying tax, it doesn't go down well, It really doesn't go down well. And so they've got to bring this sort of stuff into line, and if they can't do that, how are they going to manage the much bigger, harder questions?
So it's extraordinary. That just happened in the last week or so, did it?
Oh, last month or so.
Yeah.
Certainly while
this situation has been unfolding.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So Mario Monti is not an elected member of Parliament. How is this going to work in terms of holding the coalition that supports him together?
Well, that will be interesting. Apparently, I'm told polling shows that neither of the major parties are well ahead of the other. Now, what that says to the centre-left is, if there were elections, we could lose. So we're happy with a technical government. What it says to the centre-right is, there's a chance we could win. So I suspect there will still be people, perhaps in the second half of next year, when these bonds that come up for reissue have been reissued and they're over that hurdle, who'll then be looking for an opportunity to cause trouble, because Italy doesn't have a history of stable governments. I don't think it's unfair to describe their parliament as fairly dysfunctional.
And just finally, Amanda Vanstone, is this another sign of the Eurozone slowly disintegrating? Is it getting that bad? Well,
I'll tell you what, the British people must be thinking that they'll up Maggie Thatcher's superannuation for keeping them out of the euro. It's a pretty difficult situation. What I hope is it doesn't besmirch the reputation of Italians in general, because, Australia's been a very lucky recipient of Italian migrants who've been hard workers. They've done well. And look, whatever the country's problems are, just remember, they know how to make Ferraris, and you've got to have some skills to do that.
Yeah, you do. And are you missing politics at all yourself?
No, isn't that funny? I thought I would. I loved my job. Even the days when people would say, hell, why would you do that? That's when it's really happening, and I loved the job. But I do not miss it when I sometimes see Question Time. Not for a nanosecond has it gone through my brain, gee, I'd like to be there. I'm loving the freedom. You see, being part of a team is a very disciplined thing if you're a team player, and you don't have as much freedom as people imagine, and I'm not loving now having it.
Good on you. OK, Amanda Vanstone, thanks so much for talking to us.